Discover how a mysterious cleaner revealed incredible connections with a Russian millionaire. Jenna felt the weight of her mop like it was a family heirloom. The dim office gleamed under her touch as if she were breathing life back into the very walls. In a Rust Belt town that felt like it was falling apart, she was the heartbeat, the determined cleaner who could turn any space shining again. 2 kids at home waited for her to bring the little joys of life. She recalled her father, a war veteran, who always told her that grit was something you had to build on your own. So every scrub and every spray was a tribute to him, a small promise to do right by her children. But lately, that promise felt like a heavy stone inside her chest. The business was barely scraping by, bills piled high, and the whispers of financial disaster echoed in her mind. Then, one fateful afternoon, everything changed. While cleaning Nikolai's large office, an immaculate space that sparkled like a diamond, Jenna stumbled onto those ominous documents. They hinted at something disconcerting, something that tied the town's struggles to sinister dealings. Her heart raced. What could this mean for the neighbors she adored, who couldn't afford to feed their families or save their businesses? A dull ache of responsibility gripped her. She had to act. Nikolai, with his dark hair and piercing eyes, was an enigma. He was new to town, the wealthy Russian whose roots folks dissected with mistrust. But he didn't fit the role they boxed him into. As she cautiously approached him, Jenna found not a monster, but a man struggling against isolation. They began to talk, and surprisingly, he listened. Their unlikely friendship blossomed as they envisioned a community project that could breathe new life into dying businesses, uniting their destinies. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, but then came the whispers. Would Nikolai's resources lift them, or would they drown them in his wake? As fight brewed among the townspeople to save a beloved family-owned store on the verge of closure, fear filled the air like a thick fog. It felt like a storm was about to break. Jenna's heart tightened as she grappled with her loyalties. Standing with Nikolai, face to face, Jenna felt raw emotion lace their conversation. Could she trust a man whose background seemed to be everything her community abhorred? But beneath the tension, there was a flicker of hope, an idea of merging their worlds. Yet that hope was threatened by a fierce reality. Could her working-class principles survive a friendship with a millionaire? As uncertainty swirled in the air, Jenna's chest tightened. The question loomed large, insistent. Standing at a crossroads, she felt the stirrings of a choice that could dictate the town's future. Would bridging the gap between his world and hers lead to salvation, or tear the fragile fabric that held her community together? As the townspeople chanted for justice, her heart raced, echoing the doubts she carried like stones in her pocket. What would she choose, and what would it cost her? Jenna stood at the edge of choice, her heart a thunderous drum in her chest. The tension between her and Nikolai congealed in the silence, each breath heavy with unspoken words. The townspeople's voices rolled through the air, a tide of urgency that pushed against her resolve. She glanced at him, searching his face for clarity. Was he really a partner in this, or merely a passing storm that would leave ruin in its wake? Jenna, we can make a difference, Nikolai urged, the intensity of his gaze igniting a flicker of hope within her. The community needs vision and resources. Together, we can chart a new course. But how could she trust a man who, by all the neighborhood's accounts, should remain a stranger? The skepticism of her friends echoed in her mind. She could almost hear their warnings about the man they deemed an outsider. Her father's voice rang clear too, always wise, always cautious. It felt like a battle between her instincts and her aspirations. Resources? She replied, a wobble in her voice betraying her uncertainty. What if they come with strings? You don't know this town like I do. Nikolai took a step closer, reducing the distance fostered by fear. I don't want to take from this place, I want to invest in it. What do you think those papers in my office were about? I saw the potential here, and I wanted to help. If we can get people involved, if we can let them see they matter, they will believe again. The optimism in his words was a breath of fresh air, but still, doubt lingered. Jenna felt the room spin ever so slightly. Could they really turn this ship around? She thought of her children. She felt responsible for their future too. If I engage with you, the town may see me as a traitor. Or as a lifeline, he countered gently, his tone softening but firm. This place is on the brink. You and I both know that. The store, the diner, they're all at risk. But if we come together, we can rally them. They'll see that we still believe. Moments stretched, elongating the silence until Jenna finally nodded, her resilience rising like a phoenix. But I'm not sure how this will be received. Trust takes time. We need to prove to them that we aren't fighting for our own interests. Then let us show them, Nikolai said, taking a leap of faith. Let us invite them to a meeting. Bring everyone together and share our vision. It won't be easy, but nothing worthwhile ever is. Taking a deep breath, Jenna felt her heart align with his resolve. The storm within began to quiet, just a little. All right. I'll help set it up. As they hashed out plans, Jenna could feel the winds shifting. For a moment, amid the doubt, she felt a spark of something bigger than herself: renewal. Then, just as they began to sketch out the details for their meeting, the door swung open with a crash, and there stood Marianne, her neighbor, eyes blazing. What is going on here? She demanded, catching the two off guard. Jenna instinctively stepped between them, her mind racing. The air grew taut with tension again, uncertainty swirling back like wisps of smoke. How would she defend her alliance now, with even her closest friends questioning her choices? As Jenna's heart hammered in her chest, she faced Marianne, words stuck in her throat. What would she say to bridge this rift? The stakes felt impossibly high, and fear loomed like an ominous shadow overhead. Could she find the words to unite her community and heal this fracture? The question reverberated within her as the confrontation pushed forward, upward, toward an inevitable clash. What would happen when the town learned of the two unlikely allies confronting their fears together? Jenna's heart raced as Marianne's piercing gaze cut right through her. An icy knot twisted in her stomach. This was not how she envisioned this moment going. She cast a quick glance toward Nikolai, who stood with an expression of cautious concern, his brows slightly furrowed. They were both in this precarious situation, teetering towards uncertainty. What is going on here? Marianne pressed, her arms crossed tightly across her chest, a clear sign of her distrust. The townspeople often discussed loyalty, and right now, Jenna felt like a stranger in her own skin. With a shaky breath, Jenna stepped forward. Marianne, please, she began, her voice wavering. I know this looks bad, but... But what? You're talking to the enemy. You're teaming up with someone who doesn't even belong here. Marianne shot back, her tone laced with hurt and disbelief. It felt like a punch to Jenna's gut. He wants to help us, Jenna explained, though insecurity crept into her voice. He sees potential in this town that has been overlooked for too long. I think we can turn things around together. Together? Marianne scoffed, skepticism pouring from her. And what's in it for him? Why should we trust a man who came here to cash in on our struggles? The flickering light of hope was rapidly extinguishing. Jenna could feel the eyes of the world on them, and the weight of every decision she'd ever made pressed down like a heavy blanket. Because he believes in us. In all of us. Nikolai, finally stepping up beside her, spoke with a calm intensity. I'm not here to take. I want to invest in your community, to lift it up. We can show the world that this town still has a heartbeat, still has dreams worth fighting for. Marianne's fire softened momentarily, as if his words flickered just enough light into her doubt. And how do you expect to do that? Just by holding a meeting? Everyone's hurting, Jenna. What if they don't want to listen? Jenna felt the truth of those words clawing at her. What if they only saw her as a traitor? What if everyone had already made their judgments? I get it, Jenna said, desperation creeping in as she searched for the right words. But maybe this is our chance to try to feel like a community again. If we don't come together, then what will we have left? Just silence. There was a moment, a flicker of acknowledgement in Marianne's expression, but then the doubt returned, clouding her eyes once more. Silence might be better than betrayal, Jenna. You know how the others will react. You have to think about your family, about everyone who might suffer because of this. That struck a chord deep within Jenna. She remembered the nights spent listening to her children's dreams, their hopes for the future. It fueled her strength and reminded her why this was essential. I'm willing to take that risk, Jenna said at last, her voice steadying. Because if we don't try, then we're already lost. Please, Marianne. Come to our meeting and listen. It could change everything. Marianne's expression shifted again, weighing the choice with visible effort. The tension hung thick around them, pulsating like the beat of Jenna's heart. Let us say I agree to come, Marianne said slowly, her voice dropping from accusation to curiosity. What do you hope to have happen there? Jenna met her eyes, desperation clashing with determination. I want to show them that we're all in this together. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see it too. Marianne hesitated, the battle inside clear on her face. Jenna's thoughts raced, the possibilities swirling in her mind. If she could convince her, perhaps others might follow. But what would it take to truly unite them? As Marianne considered, Jenna felt an electric pulse of uncertainty rush over her. Was this truly how alliances were formed, or was it merely the beginning of her unraveling? There was still so much at stake. What did this fragile connection mean for their future? And would it be enough to draw the community back from the brink of despair? With those questions dancing on the edge of her mind, Jenna sensed that change was about to unfold. She could feel it in the air, like the calm before a storm. Would Marianne take the leap with her? Jenna held her breath, feeling as if the world had paused in that single moment. Marianne's expression was a mix of doubt and contemplation, and Jenna couldn't help but wonder if she had finally reached her. The atmosphere around them felt electric, each heartbeat echoing in her ears. Okay, Marianne said finally, though Jenna could hear the hesitation still lurking in her words. I'll come to the meeting. But if you think I'm going to just roll over and buy into this, no. That's not what I want, Jenna interjected, her voice earnest. I want everyone to question everything, to feel they have a voice. This town is ours. We should be the ones to shape it, not let others dictate what happens. Marianne's gaze softened a fraction, and for a moment, Jenna sensed a glimmer of hope. Just then, a soft rustle from the edge of the gathering caught her attention. A few familiar faces emerged from the shadows, drawn by the tension and curiosity. It was a mix of friends and neighbors, people more invested in the town's future than they let on. Is everything all right? Greg, one of Jenna's childhood friends, asked, concern etching lines across his forehead. Fine, Marianne replied quickly, but the tone lacked its usual edge. Just a little discussion about bringing in outsiders. Jenna could see Greg's expression harden, and an uncomfortable silence enveloped the group. This was the moment. Actually, she said, stepping forward, raising her hand slightly. I need to talk to all of you. Please. We need to come together as a community. Talking to outsiders can lead to trouble, another nearby voice chimed in. It was Linda, an always cautious neighbor. What do you really know about him? Jenna turned her gaze on every person there, gathering strength from their presence. I know we're stuck. Stuck in silence, stuck in hurt, and I can't stand it anymore. We deserve better. We have every right to explore options, even if it means trusting someone new. Marianne looked like she might argue, but instead, she took a step back and crossed her arms. The tension shifted, a chorus of nods and murmurs from the onlookers inviting chaos into the conversation. Maybe, just maybe, they were starting to listen. "What do you propose, Jenna?" Greg asked, finally leaning in, hungry for a plan. His interest felt like a spark igniting hope within her. "We have to take a chance," Jenna urged, urgency dripping from each word. "We can hold a meeting, see what Nikolai has in mind, and find out if there's a way to rebuild this town together. If we turn our backs now, we surrender to despair." The murmurs grew louder, caught between skepticism and curiosity. Jenna could feel the surge of emotions wash over her, a cocktail of apprehension and excitement. Once they began to connect, she could almost taste the possibility hovering in the air. "Great," Marianne finally said, a hint of sarcasm threading through her words. "Let us gather everyone and watch this plan of yours either bloom or crash. Just remember, I warned you." Jenna's heart raced again, not from fear this time, but from excitement. She felt the weight of responsibility lifting, just a little. "Let us meet on Friday at the community center," she rallied, a spark igniting in her voice. "I'll spread the word, and Nikolai will present his ideas. This is our shot." As people began to leave, murmuring to one another, Jenna sensed something building between them. It felt like a soft light breaking the dark. Perhaps this wasn't the end but the beginning. When the last few remained, Jenna turned to Nikolai, her heart full yet trembling. "You heard them. They're starting to listen." "I hope they do," he replied, losing himself within thoughts as his eyes drifted to the sunset, painting the horizon fiery colors. "But actions matter more than words. We'll need to show them why we're here." Her heart sank slightly. She didn't have all the answers, but at least they were moving. What if the meeting unraveled more than just conversation? What if their hopes turned to ashes before they even ignited? As she prepared to make her way home, those questions shadowed her thoughts, urgently calling for clarity as the sunset bled into night. Friday arrived sooner than Jenna expected. As she stepped into the community center, nervous energy coursed through her veins. The room buzzed with quiet chatter, neighbors mingling as they fidgeted with their coats and cups of coffee. The air felt thick with anticipation and skepticism. Jenna took a deep breath, her heart pounding as she glanced around. Against one wall, Greg and some others were laughing softly, but their eyes held a hint of concern. Marianne sat with a few of her close friends, arms crossed defiantly. Jenna understood the tension. To them, this was a gamble, a leap into the unknown. "Do you think they'll actually show up?" Jenna whispered to Nikolai, who stood beside her, radiating calm amidst the chaos. "They will," he replied, confidence lighting his smile. "You've planted a seed, and seeds grow in the most unpredictable conditions." Her nerves twitched at his response. She wanted to believe that, but it felt fragile in the face of reality. The clock crept closer to the meeting time, but more chairs were still empty. Just then, the door swung open and a wave of people entered, some familiar faces, some new. Jenna watched as Linda and a few others came in, hesitant yet curious. It was enough to swell her hope, like water brushing against the parched earth. As the last of the latecomers settled, Jenna stood at the front, her palms sweaty against the podium. She cleared her throat, capturing the audience's attention. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice steadying with each passing word. "We're here because we love this town. We want to reclaim our voice and make it stronger." Some nods encouraged her, while others still echoed doubt. Jenna pressed on. "Today, Nikolai will share ideas to bring new energy and resources to our community. This isn't about giving up what we have but building on it." Nikolai stepped forward, his presence commanding. "Thank you, Jenna. It's vital to know that with change, there's also opportunity, a fresh start. Together, we can tackle challenges that have stuck us in a rut." His voice rang with authority, and Jenna felt a spark ignite as she locked eyes with the crowd, sensing a shift that he laid out plans, drawing maps and presenting ideas to rejuvenate local businesses, improve schools, and attract tourism. Jenna could see people leaning forward, their interest peaking at the mention of investment opportunities and cultural programs. Whispers spread through the crowd, and Jenna's heart raced with hope. This was it. They could break the cycle of despair together. But as the presentation gained momentum, Marianne's sharp voice broke through the chatter. But how can we trust you? How do we know this isn't just another empty promise? Jenna held her breath. It was the question she feared most. Would they ever really believe in something new? Nikolai paused and faced Marianne, his expression serious. I'm an outsider, yes, but I'm here to work alongside you. I want to understand your needs, and together, we can create something lasting. The room fell quiet. Jenna caught Marianne's eye, searching for a sign of acceptance, but the wariness remained. Then show us. A new voice rose from the back. It was Greg, his face set with determination. If you want our trust, prove it. Bring real change, and we'll follow. Jenna could feel the collective energy shift. There was a sense of solidarity forming among them, as if they were beginning to unite in purpose. But still, doubts lingered. Could they truly adapt and embrace change? Could she keep them on this fragile path, or would old habits pull them back into shadows? As the meeting progressed, Jenna sensed that this was only the beginning. Just as they were starting to believe, the true test of faith was yet to come. Standing beside Nikolai, she felt something stir deep within her. This wasn't just a community meeting, it was a launching point for revolution. But with hope came the fear of failure. How far could they really go? As she felt the energy crackle in the air, uncertainty loomed heavy. What would happen when the excitement faded? And then, a sudden loud crash resonated from the back of the room, freezing the entire crowd in a moment of collective shock. What had just happened? The sound echoed like a thunderclap, pulling every gaze toward the rear of the room. Jenna's heart raced as she turned, her breath caught in her throat. A tall man stumbled forward, clutching a broken chair leg, a makeshift weapon, bloodied and jagged. He looked around wildly, eyes darting as if searching for an escape. What just happened? Someone whispered from the front row, the caution in their voice palpable. Nikolai stepped forward, echoing an air of authority, but his eyes betrayed urgency. Everyone, stay calm. Let us figure this out. Jenna's mind raced, caught between fear and responsibility. What had she gotten everyone into? The man with the makeshift weapon trembled slightly but held his ground. I didn't mean to, he started, voice shaking. I thought I just wanted to show you, he gestured wildly. I'm sorry, I'm just tired of being ignored. Jenna's heart softened. There was anguish behind his aggression. Hey, she said gently, stepping forward cautiously. What's your name? Wade. I just wanted to be heard. He scanned the bewildered faces around him. You all talk about change, but who's really listening to us? It's just another meeting, right? Another empty promise. Jenna felt the weight of those words hit her. They had been teetering on the edge of change, and here was a man desperate for recognition. She raised her hands slowly, like she was calming a wild animal. Wade, we are listening. This is exactly why we are here. But are you really? His voice cracked, the pain spilling out. Nobody ever cares about folks like us. We've seen leaders come and go, promising the world and delivering nothing. Silence settled over the room, only to be replaced by shuffling murmurs. Jenna's heart pounded in her ears, picking up the rhythm of uncertainty and shared frustration. Wade, I promise that this isn't just a talk. What happened here tonight, it's the first step. Nikolai interjected. But it needs all of you. We need real voices, real stories, not just plans on a paper. The man's expression softened, confusion mixing with curiosity. Jenna noted the change, the flicker of possibility in his eyes. Then what do we do? He asked, almost a plea. Jenna took a deep breath, feeling the collective weight of the room looking to her. Let us create a safe space. A place where everyone can share their stories, their struggles. We can't promise it'll be easy, but we can promise to be here together. A ripple of agreement passed through the crowd. Greg nodded slowly, his expression shifting from skepticism to something more open. If Wade's right, then let's actually listen to one another, he spoke up, gaining confidence as he addressed the crowd. Every voice matters. Jenna smiled, a flicker of hope igniting. This was exactly what they needed, a conversation, not just a presentation. As the energy in the room started to shift again, a sense of camaraderie blossomed. They were beginning to understand the potential of connection. Wade's pain wasn't an isolated issue, it was a reminder of their shared struggles. Suddenly, the door swung open again, this time revealing Linda carrying a large cardboard box. She waved it in the air. I brought snacks. Thought we could get to know each other better over some cookies. Laughter erupted, breaking the tension that hung thick just moments ago. It was a moment of relief, a shift from fear to unexpected levity. Yet, Jenna knew they still had a long way to go. This was just one meeting. Would the energy last? Would they truly rally behind the idea of collective change? As the laughter filled the room, she felt that flicker of possibility grow into something brighter. But in the back of her mind lingered the question, how would they handle the challenges ahead, the doubts, the skeptics, and more unexpected surprises like Wade's outburst? The night was just beginning, and Jenna sensed it was going to take more than just commitment to see this through. Would they rise to the occasion when the hard days came? As they gathered over cookies and shared stories, Jenna's resolve strengthened. They would find a way to answer that question, she could feel it deep within her. But first, they had to start believing in each other, and that, she hoped, would light the way forward. With a renewed sense of purpose, she wondered if they truly had the courage to embrace the unknown. Would they be willing to stand united, or would they fall back into doubt when challenged? Jenna's heart swelled as laughter floated around the room like warm sunshine breaking through clouds. Cookies amidst such intensity felt surreal, but it also sparked a sense of belonging. Each bite was sweet, a small reminder that simple pleasures could ignite genuine connections. Wade, still shaking, was now sharing his own story, his voice quieter but filled with emotion. I grew up feeling invisible, he said, staring into his half-eaten cookie. The more I wanted to shout, the more people turned away. So, I just stopped trying. Jenna nodded, deeply moved. His words resonated with the fears swirling in her own mind. She had always struggled to feel heard too. As every story unfolded, it seemed a collective echo of pain resonated, wounds shared, tears shed, and a flicker of hope ignited in their midst. Nikolai walked among the tables, engaging with people, his charismatic energy pulling everyone in. Jenna sensed a powerful shift as he listened intently, nodding and asking questions that encouraged vulnerability. Greg joined in, encouraging others to speak, creating a ripple of camaraderie that filled the room with a kind of magic. This is what we need, Greg exclaimed, raising his voice above the quiet chatter. We've been buried under a mountain of problems for too long. But together, he paused, looking around, together we can chip away at that mountain. We have to be patient, though, Jenna added, her heart racing at the fresh challenge. We're just starting to scrape the surface. Change doesn't happen overnight. Wade wiped his eyes, a mix of hesitation and conviction there. But it couldn't it? I mean, look at us. For the first time, people are willing to share. For the first time, I feel seen. The room buzzed with agreement, a collective heartbeat coursing through them, and Jenna felt a surge of hope. Yet, a shadow of doubt still lingered. So much pain lay beneath the surface, and she couldn't help but wonder if they were truly ready to handle it all. Suddenly, a loud crash jolted everyone to attention. A nearby window shattered, sunlight spilling into the room, revealing the silhouette of a figure outside. Frantic murmurs spread through the crowd. Is that Someone started but faded into silence as they all tried to see what was happening. Nikolai rushed to the window, a look of disbelief washing over his face. "Stay back, everyone!" he shouted, a protective authority in his voice. Jenna felt her heart race once again. What if it were some symbol of their past struggles crashing through their moment of vulnerability? She stepped closer, peering around Nikolai. The light glinted off something shiny in the rubble outside, a brief glimpse of silver. "Maybe it's just a bird," someone joked nervously, trying to lighten the mood. But Jenna wasn't laughing. No bird would have done that. "It might be something else," she whispered, a chill of dread crawling up her back. Nikolai looked back at the crowd, his expression somber. "Let us be prepared for anything, okay? Whatever it is, we won't face it alone." The room was tense, thicker than before. Laughter had floated away into the unknown, replaced by a collective uncertainty. As Jenna scanned the faces, she saw not just hesitation, but determination forming. They weren't just survivors, they were becoming warriors for their own stories. "Together, we can face whatever comes next," Jenna said, fighting to keep her voice steady. "But we have to trust each other." Would they rally once more in the face of uncertainty? Could they find the strength to confront whatever lay ahead, ready to forge a real path to change? As the sun set outside, casting long shadows, it felt like a test waiting to unfold. Would this moment define them, or would they rise to become something much greater than the fears that haunted them? The tension in the air was heavy, a silence pregnant with possibilities. Yet one thing was for sure, this was just the beginning. What lay beyond that broken window could change everything. Jenna's breath hitched as the icy shards of fear tugged at her gut. She could hear the hushed whispers rising like waves among the group, each individual wrestling with their own anxieties. The shattered window felt like a breach in their newfound sanctuary, a reminder that safety was often an illusion. She stifled the urge to turn away, focusing instead on the figures in the dewy light outside. "Stay strong," she urged, coaxing the courage out of the room. Each word felt heavy, but she wasn't about to let fear control them. She glanced at Wade, whose eyes reflected her own uncertainty, but also a flicker of grit. Greg looked to Nikolai, searching for reassurance. Losing themselves in the chaos wouldn't be an option. "Any chance it's just a throwaway accident?" someone speculated, biting their lip as they watched the figure approach slowly, almost hesitantly, as if they were unsure of their reception. "Let us hope so," Greg replied, but his voice lacked confidence. The shadows danced as the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon. Nikolai, brimming with determination, edged toward the door. "I'll check it out. We need to see what we're dealing with." "Wait." Jenna's voice rang out. "I'll go with you." A rush of adrenaline pushed her forward. She felt a unity growing in her chest, as if the struggles they were all processing were slowly knitting them together. If this was a moment of reckoning, she didn't want to stand back. Wade caught her arm, his grip firm yet shaky. "Are you sure? It could be dangerous." She looked him squarely in the eye. "Whatever it is, we face it together. Don't you feel it?" She indicated towards the others, who had started gathering near the door, curious and anxious, all eyes focused on Nikolai as if he were their only lifeline. Nikolai pushed open the door, sliding past the broken glass and stepping into the golden twilight. "Be careful," he instructed. Jenna's heart pounded louder than ever as she followed him. Outside, the evening air prickled against her skin. The light from within spilled onto the patio, carving out shadows that danced eerily around them. The figure moved closer, a silhouette framed against the dusk, shrouded in mystery. "It's just a person," Nikolai murmured, though his voice betrayed a hint of uncertainty. As they approached, Jenna could see the figure was wearing a cloak-like jacket that billowed in the evening breeze. A hood obscured their face, but she could make out the glistening silver dangling from their waist. "Who are you?" Nikolai called, firm but inviting. The figure stopped, hesitated, and finally lowered their hood. Jenna gasped at the sharp features staring back at her. It was a woman, her dark hair cascading down like a waterfall. Her eyes, glinting like polished emeralds, reflected deep wisdom and sorrow, a storm of stories waiting to be told. "I'm here to help," she said, her voice low yet resonant. "But first, you must confront what you hide from." The tension shifted, twinkling sparks igniting curiosity and concern. Jenna's mind swirled with questions. What could they be hiding? Did this stranger know them better than they knew themselves? The vulnerability of their earlier conversations suddenly felt exposed, a naked truth lying in the moonlight. "Who are you?" Jenna pressed, her heart racing. "Why now?" The woman smiled softly, but there was no mistaking the intensity in her eyes. "Because sometimes, connections can only be forged in the darkness." As the crowd lingered at the door, Jenna sensed a shift in their collective spirit. Here was the beginning of something profound and transformative, yet it carried a weight of uncertainty. Would they face their fears together? What hidden truths were on the brink of discovery? A ripple of silence spread across the night, the air electric with possibility. Whatever this woman brought with her held the key to their next chapter, but would they dare to turn the page? Before Jenna could voice her next thought, a loud thud echoed from behind them. A warning? A chance to flee? She turned back, and behind the shattered window, shadows shifted. Ominously, threatening to engulf the fragile light they had built together. What would happen next? Jenna felt her heart race as the loud thud echoed through the doorway, a sound that seemed to rattle the very foundations of their shaky sanctuary. The crowd at the threshold buzzed with nervous energy, whispers filled with a blend of fear and curiosity. What was that? A voice quivered, the tension palpable. "Stay focused," Nikolai muttered, his eyes darting back and forth between the mysterious woman and the shadows creeping behind them. He positioned himself slightly in front of Jenna, a protective instinct sparking to life within him. The woman surveyed the group with a calmness that contrasted sharply with the rising panic. "There's more at stake than you realize," she said, her voice unwavering. "But you need to choose now, hide in fear, or step into your truth." What did that mean? Jenna had so many questions bubbling inside her, but before she could shout out, the shadows shifted again, unveiling a dark figure barely illuminated in the soft light spilling from the house. "Is someone in there?" A deep voice called out, urgent yet cautious. Jenna stepped forward, her thoughts colliding chaotically in her mind. "Who's there?" she shouted back, her voice stronger than she felt. "Just me," replied the voice, now moving into the lighting. A man appeared, his tall frame hunched slightly as if trying to merge into the surroundings. Jenna blinked and gasped, recognizing him instantly. Brian, a friend from her college days, a social butterfly with a knack for networking, even if he always seemed drawn into the wrong circles. "What are you doing here?" Jenna questioned, a mix of surprise and confusion washing over her. "I need to talk," he said, his eyes wide and serious. "There's so much going on, and it's worse than we thought. You have to listen to me." "Not now, Brian. There are more important things at play," Nikolai interjected, his voice laced with rising irritation. "More important?" Brian's voice rose, desperation seeping through. "You're all in danger. You have no idea what's happening." The woman stepped closer to him, her gaze searing. "Then you must share your truth. Right now." Jenna's pulse quickened. Could Brian's arrival be the twist they needed? Or would it plunge them deeper into the chaos? She exchanged anxious glances with Wade, who held her hand tightly, silently rooting for her to stay strong. From behind the door, Greg's voice broke the tension. "If there's something we need to know, Brian, tell us. We can't afford any more secrets or half-truths. Nobody has time for revelations when an enemy lurks so close." Brian blurted, frustration thick in the air. "Things have changed since the last time I saw you. Longer and darker threads are weaving through this town, and they're going to rip us all apart if we don't come together." Jenna could feel the energy of the crowd shifting, their collective anxiety morphing into something else, an urgent need to understand. Behind her, the whispers morphed into a cacophony of overlapping questions. Questions swirling like dark clouds about what was truly going on, about who could be trusted. "Tell us everything," she insisted, her voice cutting through the rising din. "We can't fight without knowing what we're up against." And just like that, with the shadow of danger looming closer, the fragile ties that held them together felt more critical than ever. They were on the cusp of something monumental, both terrifying and empowering. As Brian prepared to divulge the truth, a sudden crash from inside the house broke their concentration. As Jenna turned toward the sound, her stomach dropped. Were they really ready to face what lay beneath the surface? Would this revelation tear them apart or bind them together? In that moment, Jenna realized the answers they sought might not come easily. And sometimes, to conquer fear, they had to lean hard into the darkness, but what secrets lay hidden within? What connections would they be forced to confront before this terrifying night was over? As the last remnants of daylight faded, the surreal atmosphere gave way to an unsettling tension that hung thick in the air. Brian stepped forward, urgency pulsating in his words. "You have to listen to me. There are whispers of corruption, undercover deals threatening everything we've built in this town." Jenna felt her heart pound heavier. This wasn't just about the community project anymore, it was about their very existence, their families, their futures. The collective breath held tight as Brian's revelation curled around them like the encroaching night. "What do you mean?" Jenna urged, stepping closer. The murmurs of the crowd started to quiet, their focus shifting toward Brian. "There are people here with power," he continued, his voice steady and commanding. "Nikolai isn't just a stranger, he's an opportunity for us. But those trails of corruption reach even him. Dark forces want to silence us before we gain control. We can't afford not to trust each other." Gasps and exchanged glances coursed through the crowd. Nikolai stepped forward, his gaze sharp, assessing Brian like a chess opponent. "What do you know of these forces?" "I've seen it in my work back in the city," Brian replied, more candidly now. "People playing their games, pulling strings while ordinary folk struggle. They'll try to dismantle what we're building here if they feel threatened." Jenna's mind raced. How could they unite when fear coiled tightly around them? But beneath that fear blossomed a realization perhaps the truth could bind them together, making them stronger than the corruption lurking in the shadows. "So we have to confront it, all of it," she declared, raising her voice above the tension. "Together." Wade squeezed her hand, his expression mirroring her resolve. "It's time we take our community back. We're not just victims, we have power, and we need to harness it." With breathless anticipation, the townspeople rallied behind Jenna's words, the spirit of unity igniting within the room. Greg stepped forward, his face brightening with renewed purpose. "If there are those who want to silence us, let us show them what we're capable of. We can be the voice that echoes through these dark times." Marianne, eyes sparkling, nodded vigorously. "We stand for our town. For our families. This will not be our end." Jenna looked at Nikolai, who held her gaze, awash with emotion. "We must reveal the truth," he said, his voice resonating with a new sense of purpose, "and together, we will protect what is ours." The spirit of the meeting shifted into something transformative, a palpable shift resonating in every heart present. Jenna could feel the connections knitting together, every story, every voice mattered. "Let us gather information, form a plan, educate ourselves." She rallied. "Knowledge is our weapon, and community is our shield." The energy in the room surged, a tide of solidarity washing over them, each person rising to their feet, fueled by a newfound urgency. Plans ignited town meetings, community forums, outreach, all focusing on transparency, truth, and resilience, but just as the crowd felt alive with purpose, a sound echoed from deeper within the night, a voice, a distant thumping, a warning that chased after their hope. Everyone stopped, fear flickering through the candlelit room. Nikolai shared a look with Jenna, a silent agreement coursing between them. "We stay united," he said firmly. "No matter what comes next." Jenna breathed in determination. "Together, we face it. No one backs down." We tackle this darkness head-on. With each step, they moved together, forming a line against the unknown, hearts thundering like war drums. Whatever awaited them out there could not divide them now. Shadows might cloud their path, but with each other, they would carve out their own light. As they opened the door to face the night, something shifted, a wave of courage washed over them, transforming their fear into resolve. The unknown felt daunting and exhilarating all at once. Darkness was merely the anticipation of dawn, and so, they stepped forward not as fractured people linking arms against a storm, but as a community ready to claim their space, embrace their stories, and forge their connection into something much greater. This was not just about standing against shadows, it was about building something new, rising from ashes, and collectively deciding who they would become. It was the defining moment of hope, a beautiful testament to realizing that unity could light even the darkest paths. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, casting golden hues across the town, Jenna felt a warmth wash over her. It was not just the sun rising, but a new beginning, a resurgence of belief, strength, and courage. This was just the start. Together, they were capable of anything. To all the dreamers out there, don't wait one more second. Subscribe immediately to this channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire and unite. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and spread the message of hope. Comment your thoughts and feelings on this transformation, your voice matters, and share this video with at least 5 friends who need a spark of inspiration in their lives. This is the moment to show your support. Only true fans truly understand the importance of standing together. Let us keep this light shining bright.